Hi everybody, this is Bogus Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the Marvel Legends Beast figure. So before we take a look at Beast, let's take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So first up, he comes with the head of the Caliban Build-A-Figure, and this looks really nice. I'm really digging the paint apps on it. But the front of it looks good, and then you turn to the back, and it has some really wonky paint to it. So yeah, that looks kind of odd. And he comes with a set of alternate hands. He has this, not really sure what this hand is. It's kind of like that. So he has that hand. He has this semi-open hand. And switching these is pretty easy. A little harder if you're doing it from behind a camera, but let's set those right there. So for his alternate hands, he doesn't actually have sets of hands. Like, I would have preferred a set of open hands, a set of fists, a set of, like, the more relaxed hands. But for his alternate hands, he has a closed-fisted hand and then a wide-open hand. And the only thing you're probably going to be able to use this for is, you know, getting him in some poses like this, or, you know what I mean. This is probably going to be for some posing, is what you're going to use that for. I wonder if I can get him to stand like that. No, he won't. But this is for more posing, because if you put it down like that, it looks really funny. Now, one thing I want to point out is on all the hands, they did paint the pegs right here, the swivel right there, but they only painted it so far. So I guess the hand's meant to stay like that, because if you have it down any further, then it shows that blue. And that's the way on all of the hands. The paint stops at a certain point. So I would have preferred it to be painted on all the way, because if you move it a certain way, then you'll see that blue from the peg there. So let's go ahead and switch these hands back over. They pop one pretty easily. Like I said, it's a little harder if you're doing it from behind the camera. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the head sculpt. So the head sculpt looks really good. It looks like it's straight off the cover of X-Men #1. Now, I would have preferred an alternate head with pupils, because all of his eyes just white. And it kind of makes him look more feral. So I wish they would have done that, included an alternate head sculpt. But other than that, this is a really good head sculpt. His mouth is sculpted really nicely. And one thing I wanted to point out real quick is that Caliban has a separate piece. His head and his mouth is a separate piece. And I feel like they should have done that with Beast, because it has a little bit of sculpting, but not much. But if it would have been a separate piece, I feel like it would have been sculpted a little bit better. But the hair has some nice sculpt detail to it. And it has some blue shading to it as well. And I really like that. And comparing the head sculpts from the Toy Biz version to this version, and this is still a really good figure. I'll probably just use this for my Avengers and use this for my X-Men. But he has excellent sculpt detail everywhere. He has bunches of fur sculpted in. And he has just a little bit of paint variation. That's one thing I would have preferred more of, is this shading right here. Like, he has shading on his chest, on his shoulders, a little bit on his back, and down the middle of his back. He has some of that shading here on his forearms and on his hands, but as you can see, that peg right there, they didn't paint it all the way, so it's meant to stay like that. And on his calves right here. I would have preferred some more shading in the paint there. But overall, he has some great sculpt detail. Honestly, I didn't figure he'd have as much sculpt detail as he had, just from pictures. Having it in hand is truly a different experience. My only complaint is I wish they would have painted on his fingernails. They would have done it in like a gray or a black, or just some kind of color, not just left in blue, but that's not a huge complaint. And he has his belt right here. And it stays. I wish most Marvel Legends belts did this. I usually have to glue them down, because when you're posing them around, they'll end up like up here or clear down here. But this is pretty tight on him. It's going to take a little bit of force to move that. Now, when I was posing him around, I noticed that they're using a new type of joint for the hips right here. And this allows him some great articulation. And I hope we get more of these joints on figures. I don't know if they just did that because he's Beast in a bigger figure. I don't know. But he has some excellent articulation. Like, you can get him into a lot of great poses. And then here's looking at his feet. And again, it would have been nice if they would have painted on his toenails. But look at that. He has lines in his toenails. Even has some sculpt detail to him. There might not be paint detail, but they definitely sculpted the toenails. Did the fingernails have it? Yeah, they have that slight texturing to them as well, the lines. It's a little more faint on his hands, but it's definitely prominent on his feet right here. So now let's go over the articulation. And this he has so much articulation. He has a ball-jointed head that can look back all the way. He can look down just a little bit. Since that peg comes right here, you really won't get too much articulation because his head does kind of sit down on his torso like that. He has ball-jointed shoulders that can move out all the way. He has butterfly joints. And they even sculpted his fur in the butterfly joints. Honestly, they could have just left it smooth, but they didn't. They actually sculpted that in there, so that's pretty nice. But he has butterfly joints. He has swivel at the bicep that can move side to side. He has double-jointed elbow that can move in that far. He has swivel at the wrist that can move side to side and up and down. But it can move in all the way and back all the way, so he has some really good articulation there. He has a ball-jointed diaphragm that can move back all the way, and it really can't move forward much, but it can move side to side. He has an ab crunch that can move down all the way. That's why I'm not really bummed that the this ball-jointed diaphragm right here doesn't allow him to crunch forward all the way, because you will get that forward crunch with that. And he can crunch back just a little bit, but with the ball joint there, you can get him moving back all the way. He doesn't have a swivel at the waist. That's probably because of this. But that really doesn't bother me since he has this, you know. He has ball-jointed hips that can do a complete split. He can kick forward that far. It actually goes out. He can kick forward so much. And he can kick back the same amount. That's why I said you're going to get a lot of great articulation from this figure. He has swivel at the thigh, and it is pretty crunchy. It is pretty stiff. It's stiff on both sides. He has double-jointed knees, swivel at the ankle that can move up all the way, down all the way, an ankle rocker, and he has toe articulation. So yeah, the articulation is amazing on this figure. And, you know, I know not every figure is going to have the same articulation, but it would be nice to see that. Maybe not the toe articulation. I feel like the only character that needs that is Beast. But now let's do some size comparisons. So here he is next to the Toy Biz Beast. I'm going to get him standing here. So there he is next to the Toy Biz Beast. And he is a lot taller and bulkier than the Toy Biz Beast. This one's kind of hunched over and he doesn't have any articulation in the torso. So that's probably why he's shorter. If he had some articulation, you could probably raise him up some. But there he is next to that Beast. Here he is next to the X-Men Legends box set Beast. And this one came with the lab coat. You could probably take this off and put this on this Beast if you wanted to. But that is quite a process. The one time I tried, I just about ripped the sleeve off, so I don't want to try that right now. But there he is next to the box set Beast. So here he is next to the Astonishing Beast figure. And man, he is tiny. He is very tiny. And the articulation isn't very great on him. These hips are really weird. He has these hips that swivel like that. And that's how he kicks forward. So yeah, the articulation on this one is horrible. I thought it was great at the time, but now seeing it compared to this one, it's not that great. And finally, here he is, next to Cyclops. And one thing I did with the Cyclops figure is I ended up giving him the X-Men training outfit Deadpool's feet. I think it just looks better. He doesn't have those short, stubby feet anymore. And he can stand a lot better without said short, stubby feet. So, overall, I would highly, highly, highly recommend this Beast figure. Like, I can't recommend it enough. because the sculpt detail is amazing, the articulation is out of this world, and the paint could be a little bit better, but still, it's still pretty good. So yeah, this is just a great figure, and definitely a good upgrade from the Toy Biz one. So, that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.